The Denver Broncos are in their Super Bowl window, and it's going to be open for another 5 years. You know, we kind of wondered, would it be open by now? And the answer is yes, it very clearly is. We've got a fun show planned for today, talking big picture about where the Broncos are, where they're headed, and how to maximize this about 5-year period where they've got a chance to go get themselves a ring. This is the DNVR Broncos Podcast, presented by Bet365, where if you want to head on over there, use the code DNVR365, you can get yourself $150 in bonus bets if you just place a $5 bet. We are in the Toyota Lounge, and we've got a lot to talk about today.
We do.
Actually, I have to start with a dilemma I'm having.
Okay, I like a dilemma.
Thanks. That makes... We don't like my dilemma.
Well, I mean, just... dilemmas are what
Fun
make
to talk
the world
about.
go around.
Okay. So I'm going to Montana.
Yeah.
Football game Saturday.
Okay.
I cannot drink alcohol because of my pain pills unless I decide tomorrow morning to not take the pain pills anymore.
There's other decisions you could make.
There are other decisions I could make. And those are decisions that I've decided against because I listened to the doctor's recommendations.
Okay. All right. Just be smart.
I'm planning on being smart.
But
the question is, do I just go no pain pills tomorrow?
Oh, man, you're really putting me in a bad position here as a person that you trust for advice.
I know. This is why I came to you.
I mean, just drink enough to not feel the pain.
That is the answer. It's a noon kickoff, which does factor in. Because like if it was an 8 o'clock kickoff, that's easy. Noon kickoff means like you got to get over there.
That's true.
In the seats by 11, got to like leave by like 10.
That's true.
I'm struggling.
We'll talk more later.
Okay, we'll talk more later. We're talking Super Bowl window right now though. And I want to throw a hypothetical your way first. So let's just pretend that we're in a world where the aliens come, they decide they're just going to evaporate every football. There's a football shortage. The NFL has to cancel the season tomorrow. And for some reason, the NFL is like, you know what? All we can do is really just start free agency today.
Okay.
I want to ask you, if you could add one player to this current team, who is going to be a free agent next year, who that guy would be. And I've got a list of names for you. So ESPN put out like their top 25. Number 1, Trey Hendrickson. Number 2, Tyler Linderbaum, the center. Number 3, Daniel Jones. 4, George Pickens. 5, Braden Smith. 6, Breece Hall. 7, Alec Pierce. 8, Travis Jones. 9, Isaiah Likely. 10, Jalen Phillips. Do any of those guys feel like they can be the piece that turns the Broncos from like contender to like, oh, look?
Trey
Hendrickson. Tyler Linderbaum.
Trey Hendrickson is a no.
Yeah.
We already got that.
Right.
Tyler Linderbaum kind of gets me going a little bit.
Yeah. He is a good center.
Yeah.
But he can only get you going as much as like a good center can.
He's a great center.
He is a great
center. He might be an elite center.
He might be.
I know, but just like sometimes you just keep like if you're that team that's in a position to just like double down on offensive line.
Right.
What a great place to be in. Most teams are just trying to have an offensive line at all.
Right.
You already have one and you're like, we're going to make a strength even stronger.
Right.
Kind of in on that.
Okay. To me, Pickens is tempting. Breece Hall is tempting. The thing is, neither one of those guys are in like the top tier of what they do. Like, I don't look at them and say like, oh, now you are like, you have an all-pro there. Instead, it's just like,
Pickens?
chance you have a Pro Bowl. But I mean, like, he's not Justin Jefferson. He's not Jamar Chase. He's not JSN. And he's not Puka Nacua. Like, you wind up with like 12 of those guys, I think, before you even get to him.
Yeah. And
he's in front of like the Jalen Waddle tier we were talking about.
Right. And he's like whatever, like in like basketball, you'd call it like a ball dominant guard.
Right.
It's like a ball dominant receiver. Like
right.
If you don't feed him, just things could get ugly.
It is true. It's like all those teams that add, like they tried like James Harden Or like they tried Russell. A lot of teams tried Russell Westbrook. And it's like, yeah, it does. That's not a piece that you fit in.
Right.
Doesn't really work. So those are. I just wanted to just take a step back because today we're talking big picture. Because the bye week lets us do those sorts of things.
Where's Jeremiah Love projected to get drafted right now? So I'm seeing a lot of people talking about the Broncos drafting him.
It's a Genty situation.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I'm like, at 32?
Right. It's that. Unless something crazy happens, he's not there.
And then you don't trade up for a running back.
Typically don't.
In the first round.
They didn't trade up for Reggie Bush, did they? Or Mark Ingram? I can't remember.
Reggie Bush, they had that pick.
Yeah. And I guess Ingram would be the only one Sean has
2?
drafted. I think it was was it number 2? It might have been number 2.
I think so.
Just kind of crazy to think about.
And the Texans had number 1 and they took Mario Williams.
Right. And it looks like they did not trade up for Mark Ingram. Oh, wait. No, they did trade up.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
They used 56 in the next year's first to get up to 28.
From
56. Because they gave up the next year's.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's not like a real trade up. That's not a Genty trade up. Broncos are in a Super Bowl window.
Yes.
And the key to a Super Bowl window is finding, I'm not sure if it's like spreading out and giving yourself 5 good chances to go and win a Super Bowl, one in each season, or if you just have to look at it and say like, here we are in this situation. This is the year where we have to buy in and we can kind of next year put the pieces back together and figure something out.
Yeah, that's the way.
I think so too.
That's the way. I mean, just think of like the term all in, right?
Yep.
If you sit there and you're like, man, I have a good hand, but I might get a better hand soon. I'm not sure if this is the best hand. And you just like play it safe all game long. Eventually you're just going to get crushed. If you play your cards right and you say, I'm putting all my chips in and you win that hand, then you won.
Right.
So you wait until you feel like you have the right hand, which I kind of think they had the right hand this year. And
that was my thought.
They should have pushed a few more chips in.
Right.
They didn't push any chips in. So yeah, no, next year, whatever year it is, you got to just find a year and say, okay, this is the year we have. Let's push all our chips in and go.
I think so. And that, again, flashing back to the trade deadline, that's kind of where we're at. 7-2 is a little bit different than 9-2, especially with that win over the Chiefs, because that's one where you really prove like, okay, now we're confident we can go and do it. But yeah, I think there's a way to do both.
I think that if the Chiefs game was the game right before the trade deadline,
right, they
would have gone crazy.
Typically, I don't believe in like the whole, like they should push the trade deadline back, because like I don't want too many teardowns and too many like teams just like adding good players. It's kind of not like there should be some risk in doing that.
I agree.
But at the same time, this year, the combination of now being 9-2 and realizing you actually are this good, and realizing your starting running back, who is like the focal point of your offense, isn't there. Just 2 more weeks really would have changed, I think, how the Broncos go about a lot of things.
I think that you should have to, the schedule makers should have to make it so you play each team in your division once before the trade deadline.
Okay.
Because the Broncos their schedule is so backloaded,
right,
that like it was hard to see. Like if they were 2-1 in the division with a win over the Chiefs going into the trade deadline, it would have been like, okay, now is our time to strike.
Yep.
It's a good. I never thought about that until right now. It's a good idea by me.
It is. Again, I think there are ways to go and get like. We threw Jalen Waddle's name around.
Yep.
A guy who's I think 26 right now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about the 5-year Super Bowl window. He's like 30, 31 at the end of it.
Yeah.
That's a guy who's good through the window. Yeah. I don't think you necessarily early on want to be like selling out for, like, we're going to trade a 1st-round pick to go and get Devontae Adams because he'll go give us 1,300 yards. But at this point, if there's somebody out there who can help you out in this window versus a rookie next year who will be in year 4 at the end of the window, he'll be 25. He'll be just kind of entering his prime. That just doesn't quite help as much.
Totally. This is the fun part. Now that the Broncos are in the Super Bowl window, because every move they make, and part of me thinks maybe they didn't make a trade at the trade deadline because their vision for this Super Bowl window is we're going to keep this entire defense together.
Yeah.
And that's pretty exciting to think about. So, like, we talked about this yesterday, but the JFM dream, I think, is alive and well.
I think so, too.
And is he the only unrestricted free agent that starts on the defense this year?
We'll get deep into the free agents in a minute.
Okay.
But it would be him, it would be Singleton, and that would be it.
Okay. So I really do think that there was a part of them that said, like, hey, let's save a little bit of money here to make sure that we can bring JFM back.
Yeah.
And, like, you almost never get to run back a defense like this because someone is part of this and they are part of something so special that everyone else overvalues them. Malik Jackson.
Right.
No disrespect. But it's like, okay, well, look what he did with that Broncos defense. We're going to pay him a ton. And I think he had one really good season with Jacksonville and then fell off after that. But it's like, you very rarely get to do this 3 years in a row. Mm-hmm. Broncos might be able to do this 3 years in a row. And heck, if you're going to do that, you also back it up for Vance to keep him around too.
Yeah. Only starter you lost last year was Cody Barton. And again, that was a situation where, so it was like he and Singleton technically the starters. Then it was like Barton and Sternad were the starters because Singleton was hurt. So technically Barton was still probably ranking ahead of Sternad, but yeah, in terms of starters, you only lost Barton last year. This year, you only lose Singleton and JFM. You got a chance to bring them back. Before we go to break, I want to talk about why this is a 5-year window. Why 2029 is kind of the reason, is kind of the end point. And that's that it's really, really hard to win when you're paying your quarterback a lot of money. It's really rare. The only quarterbacks in the NFL who've taken up 12.5% of their team's salary cap or more and won a Super Bowl are Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. I believe
those guys are good.
Peyton Manning made it to a Super Bowl when he was making that much. And
Sean Payton.
No, with the Broncos. With the Broncos, played Russell Wilson. And then there was one more. It might have been, no, it wasn't Russ. Both of his were on a rookie deal. I think, no, it wouldn't have been Wentz.
Garoppolo.
No, there was one other guy who made a Super Bowl in the last like 7 years or so. But the point is 12.5% has kind of been the magic number where if you're paying somebody on your team that much of your money, there just isn't enough talent to actually go and win a championship. And when you look at the way that quarterback contracts are right now, it's kind of unavoidable. So Bo Nix last year was his rookie year. So he's second year now. 2026, 2027 on the rookie deal, 2028, 2029, still probably pretty cheap. There's a chance they could keep him cheap in 2030 if they give him like a 6-year contract extension.
Wait. Okay, so 2024 he's drafted.
Yep, so 4 is a rookie.
And 2029 would be the 5th-year option.
So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 would be the option.
Oh, 5th-year option, okay.
Yep. But assuming you get an extension done for like 2029 through 2034,
I see.
You're still cheap. So like
you're backloading it a little bit.
Right. So like Jalen Hurts, for example, was on his second contract last year when he won a Super Bowl, but was still super cheap because it wasn't time for the big cap hits. And we're actually dropping a video later today talking about how the Broncos are building these contracts, which is really interesting because they are pushing more money to the future than any other team in the NFL.
The Sean Payton way.
The Sean Payton way, but doing this at like a revolutionary rate. So you take like all the guaranteed money and the rate at which they're giving that money to players up front, which means the cap hit is pushed down the line. Let's see, for every guaranteed salary dollar, they're giving out $12 in bonuses, which again means the cap hits later. Mm-hmm. Second most in the NFL is the Dolphins at 4. And the league average is like 1 point something.
But if you do this at a consistent rate, you just create a waterfall effect.
You do. And there are flaws like it only works if you're giving guys long contracts.
Or like a slinky effect.
It's a lot tougher to get out of contracts early if you want to. Yeah. So yeah, assuming Nick Bonito is like 2029, Nick Bonito is the Nick Bonito we hope he is in 2029, no flaw. If for some reason in 2027 you're saying, "Oh,
we got to get out of this," yeah,
exactly. But so they're being super aggressive, and you can justify it a little bit because of the Russ cap hits. Mm-hmm. Point is, they're pushing all this money down the line. When you look at it, assuming Bo is the guy and assuming Bo gets like a long-term 5-year deal, 2029 is really the year where you're still paying not too much. 2030 push kind of comes to shove. We're going to get deeper into the window. But first, want to give a shout out to our friends over Bet365. I love Bet365. It's always Bet365 season. Last night hit a, what was it? It was 6-leg NBA parlay. Heat. The Nuggets gave me a little scare. Nice and easy though, for the most part. There's just nothing better, especially like going to Missoula this weekend. And I know like, hey, I've got a little bit extra money, or I can like just make a couple bets. So I got everything planned out over the course of the weekend. It's the best. I'm on Bet365 every day. RK is on Bet365 every day. You just can't do anything better, and they've got all sorts of offers, including tonight for Thursday Night Football, a $10 safety net bet. That means you basically get your money back in bonus bets if your bet doesn't work. You also get the Thursday night touchdown special, all sorts of awesome stuff. Go check it out. Breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Win or lose, sign up, use the code DNVR365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or somebody who has a gambling problem wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. Also want to give a shout out to End Credit Union. It's a nice drive over here every morning. Get to drive right past that big old Pat Surtain mural. I wonder if Nick Bonito wins Defensive Player of the Year. Although at this point it's going to be pretty tough because Myles Garrett's getting so many sacks.
Myles Garrett can't even get Defensive Player of the Week.
That's true.
Got to win.
Yes, you do have to win. Do they paint over the mural? Do they say like new mural, it's Nick Bonito mural this year?
Double mural.
There we go. It's a much better idea. No need to paint over that beautiful mural. They are the official banking partner of the Denver Broncos, and there's a whole bunch of perks that come along with that, including an awesome card like this Bo Nix card. Every time you swipe it 15 times, you get another chance to win home game tickets, 10% off food and gear on game days at Empower Field, no surprise fees. Again, that's the Broncos checking account. So if you're ready to bank like a Bronco, head over to ent.com/DNVR. It's ent.com/DNVR to learn more. Insured by NCUA. Membership required. Account requires associated Ent Broncos debit card. All right, back into the DNVR Broncos podcast presented by Bet365. We're in the Toyota Lounge. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and comment and all that sort of stuff. It really helps us out. Give us 5 stars on YouTube.
5 stars on
Apple. Everything but YouTube.
Or Spotify.
Or both.
Yeah, that would be really
Who doesn't
clutch.
have both accounts?
Leave us a nice comment.
Make
a funny inside joke about Pigsby or something.
Right, Pigsby. We need more. I haven't seen a lot of Pigsbys recently. And also buy tickets to the tailgate and come to the bar.
So when they made the Pigsby emoji for the supporters club,
okay,
I was just getting like DM after DM from the design team. And they're like, "What is it?" And I was like, "It's nothing." What do you mean? What is it? They're like, "Well, should it be pig themed?" I'm like, "It could be."
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of up to you. It's not really, it doesn't even exist yet.
Pigsby's in the eye of the beholder.
Very much in the eye of the beholder.
And so then they sent me like, does this work? I'm like, everything works. Anything works.
Yep.
Just Pigsby.
Okay. So last thing on like the whole 12.5% thing. So the best players in the NFL are getting paid more now than ever before. So it used to be there weren't as many players getting 12.5% of the salary cap. Now, A.J. Brown is getting 12.5%. So I should say, this is based on their average salary. So their average salary over the course. So like any given year, the cap hit might be a little bit lower, but eventually it will balloon over that and probably significantly over if it's significantly under now. So there's 29 guys who are getting that much money. And so the whole 12.5% rule might kind of die just because like
A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts are making up 25% of the Eagles cap.
So again, this is based on their average. So Jalen Hurts averages 22% himself.
So they're at like 36%?
Right.
Or 34.5%?
Over the course of the contracts, yes. Oh. Joe Burrow at 24. You're like, oh no, this defense sucks. Well, yeah. You're giving all your money to like 2 guys. And historically it hasn't worked, but again though, like if you're saying the 12.5% rule is a thing, then you're just saying, okay, Bengals are out. Cowboys are out. Chargers are out. Ravens are out. Chiefs are out. Although, again, there's the caveat. If you're one of the greatest ever, you're able to make it happen. Eagles are out. Cardinals are out. Fine. Browns are out again. Fine. But Packers. So you go through Bills.
Is that Deshaun Watson?
That's Deshaun Watson.
Oh.
And so, but you kind of go through and say, well, this means nothing. It means Matt Stafford can't win a Super Bowl. Eventually, the line probably needs to change just because there's so many of those guys, and just it only leaves like 5 teams that, in theory, are capable of winning the Super Bowl. Given that, but point is, there's been that sort of line there that makes me say 2029 is the last year of your window. As of now,
the loyalty of sports is so crazy. Like, the fact that Browns fans are even paying attention when they're paying over 12.5% of their cap to a player who doesn't even play.
Fully guaranteed deal.
Fully guaranteed. That's what I mean. Like, that if there was any logic involved in sports, and by the way, I'm glad there isn't because I don't bring it.
Right.
Their fans would just be like, all right, we'll see you when this is over.
Yep.
And no one would go, no one would pay attention, no one would care.
Right. And in theory, like, if they don't do anything, I don't know what they even could do to the contract at this point. They're probably just stuck with it. It's a $36 million cap hit this year. It's an $80 million cap hit next year. And then he's off the team. And his first year off the team, or probably it'll be split over those next 2 years, should be about $48 million that they owe him, or salary cap wise. They'll have the money, but they'll have to account for about, what did I say, $41 million over the course of the next 2 years after he's gone.
Shador's going to have to really save the day.
He really is. Cheap, though.
Very cheap.
Very cheap. And that's the beauty of... And there's so many weird things like that, too, where, again, like, credit to the guys who draft well or scout free agents well and do those things. The economics of the NFL drives so much. Like, it's no coincidence that it used to be a first-round draft pick got to negotiate his contract with the team. And so you have Jamarcus Russell becoming one of the 5 highest-paid players in the NFL because that's what it takes to negotiate. And then what happens?
Sam Bradford, I remember that one.
Right.
Too.
And so they get massive amounts of money. And then the first year they get away with that, the first pick is Cam Newton. The second pick is Von Miller. Both those teams wind up getting those players at 20% of what they probably should have had to pay him, given what every other team had to pay those guys. Yep. And what happens? The last year of that cheap rookie contract, they play each other in the Super Bowl.
Wow. Yeah.
It's all just money.
It really is all just money. Let me ask you this, though. Given the way that things are trending, do you believe that this trend will eventually end?
I would end it. So, like, in theory...
but what I'm saying is, like, will eventually it just be like every year there's 2 teams with a quarterback getting 12.5% meeting in the Super Bowl?
The trend probably has to end because every team is just going to wind up having a guy. And so the odds of one of the 4 teams that don't winning the Super Bowl are just so much slimmer than back in the day when it was half the league or 2/3 of the league. But I think that what that just means is that you probably just have to move the line. And the cutoff will be like, if you're top 10 in cap percentage, then it won't work. But I do think at some point, again, if there was a really, really smart, it's not even the smartness, because I think a lot of GMs realize that giving all that money to Tua Tagovailoa probably isn't going to go well. Like, he isn't worth it. It's going to take away talent from the rest of the team. And there's a list of those guys. Like, there are doubts about Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy. Like, Brock Purdy, you're getting basically the same thing out of Mac Jones, who just signed out of nowhere. But if you're the GM, it's really hard to sell to the fan base, like, we're going to let him walk.
Yeah.
Like, it just puts you in a bad spot.
Especially because the fans are sitting there, like, defending their good name the entire time. And then the GM's like, nope, everyone else was right.
Exactly.
We can't win with this guy if he makes that much money.
Exactly. And so that's just like a tough spot. But you would imagine once one team is willing to say, like, we're just going to let whoever, we're going to let Tua hit free agency, we're going to let Brock Purdy hit free agency, that other teams will start to be more willing to do that.
There's just so much that goes into it because you built the whole roster around
right.
him. And so then let's just say you draft a rookie and he also sucks.
Yeah.
And now you have these heavy wide receiver cap hits for a quarterback who can't get them the rock.
Right.
Yeah. It's a hard job.
Right.
These capologists and the GMs.
Yeah. Like, I can't even imagine. Let's just say Bo Nix doesn't improve. The same Bo Nix we've seen these first 2 years yes, knock on wood for that, is the same Bo Nix we see the next 2 years. And so it's like, yeah, he's certainly a starting NFL quarterback. Is he one of the best? Maybe he's not, but he is like solid. He's functional. You get Brock Purdy. He's one of those types of guys. Imagine just being on this podcast, being the guy who says, you probably shouldn't give him $50 million a year. Yeah. The fan base would kill you.
They'd hate you. Yeah.
They would kill you. You just can't do it, which is why all these guys keep getting these deals. And so then you give him all the money, and it's like, okay, $50 million. There goes $50 million worth of other players.
Right. And it's like, well, if you're at square 5 and you need to get to square 10 where the Super Bowl is.
Right.
You have to convince everyone, like, nope, we should go back to square 0.
Yep. Because this path only goes to 8.
Right. Exactly.
There's no 9th square. You can't bridge it.
Someone will do it eventually, and it's going to be wild. And then I bet you that quarterback will go and be like Baker Mayfield level for someone.
Totally.
And like the fans will be
told you.
Like, you were wrong. But then it's like he loses in the second round.
Right.
And the GM's like, I was right. And everyone's like, no, because our quarterback sucks right now.
And it's like, look, Baker will get you to the second round of the playoffs.
Yes.
Baker will never win the Super Bowl. Even though I did pick them to win the Super Bowl when we did our preseason, like who's going to win it. I had them, which I wish, obviously I'd gone with the Rams. I did have I don't even know that I had the Seahawks doing well. The Colts were my big one. Not great picks.
No. I don't want to talk about
I've been trying to think. Yeah, we shouldn't talk about those. But that's all. That's why, 2029, you're probably still pretty safely in a Super Bowl window.
Okay.
And if Bo Nix turns out to be one of the Mount Rushmore quarterbacks, then it is obviously extended. And if he winds up being one of the best in the NFL, who knows? Maybe by that point, everything's shifted enough that you still have a chance. And I mean, if you wind up, if all things go poorly and you wind up with a rookie quarterback, but the rest of the team is good, then the window resets, assuming it's still open and you haven't fallen out because you no longer have a functional quarterback.
Yes. Also, Elway couldn't have drafted Baker because Baker was selected number 1 overall.
Should have done it. What was he thinking?
I wrote a whole article about how they should trade for Baker.
I guess so. Let's see. Before we move on, let's just hit salary cap stuff. Like I said, Broncos are pushing money back. And so you have some guys with some big numbers. Like, you just look at like their top 5 cap hits this year versus the next year versus the next year versus like they are going up significantly. And so giving out long-term deals is going to be tough. However, let's choose Spot Rack, however you want to say.
Spot Rack? I've always said Spot Rack.
I have 2, and then sometimes you see it say like, well, if I were to say it slowly, I'd say Spo. That's the thing about just internet companies.
Spot Track.
Yeah. That
kind of mixes both of them.
It kind of does. Broncos, though, about $62 million in cap space. 11th in the NFL. I don't want to say some of it's like fake cap space because you already have so much committed for the year after and the year after that.
It is kind of.
But if you keep just giving out these weird contracts where it doesn't really account for, you don't have to account for them for 3 more years, then you kind of just do it in perpetuity. So 62 million is what we're working with. Now on the other side, we're going to look through the free agents and try to see where does that go. But first, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Arena Club. Arena Club is awesome. I'm actually holding this Ent credit union card, but it kind of looks like it could be a football card.
It could.
If there was like an actual version of this that was signed, I would really like to have that card.
I would too.
There was another card. Somebody was posting, I think we posted on Reddit. It was a Von Miller rookie card. So it was in number 40. They did like signed with a little piece of the jersey.
So it was an A&M jersey.
No, like that training camp.
He was 40 in training camp.
I think he was. There was a picture of him in a Broncos 40 on it.
Interesting.
I don't know. Cool cards. All sorts of cool. There are a bunch of I like the weird cards. Like that's what stands out to me. Like Von Miller rookie card, cool. But if there was a card of like Von Miller holding the chicken or something.
Jerry Rice Broncos card.
Right. Like that would be a sick card. That would be a really cool card. But if you're into cards, Arena Club's the place to go. They are kind of leveling up the entire card game. The way it works is you buy a pack through them. You can buy a box from them. You get to open the packs. It's all online. But if you want the card, then they'll just mail it to you. And so it just shows up right at your door. If you decide you don't like it, or you're just there to sell them anyway, they'll give you a cash offer immediately. If you don't like the cash offer, you can also just put it up to auction. They'll just hold it and handle all that stuff, ship it where it needs to go. Or again, if you want it, they'll ship it straight to your door. It's a really cool thing. Wide range of different packs. There are grails in the packs. They're at least 20 times the price of the packs. There's always the chance that what you buy is turns into something worth a lot more. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/DNVR. Use code DNVR.
And thank you to our friends over at Common Spirit Sports Medicine for making this show possible. Athletes, weekend warriors, and anyone who loves to move. Those experiencing any sports injury or chronic pain, the Common Spirit Mountain region is home to an incredible sports medicine program, including their new sports center, Common Spirit Health in Parker. Their team of qualified and passionate providers specialize in the diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of sports-related injuries for all athletes, including the Denver Broncos. Their experts understand the unique demands of your body, so you'll get a personalized treatment plan. This isn't about just fixing what's broken. It's about preventative care, performance enhancement, and getting you back to peak conditions safely and quickly. So don't let an injury keep you on the bench, or even better, stay off the bench before you even get there. And be proactive about your health. For more information, visit mountain.commonspirit.org. Common Spirit Health, official healthcare partner of the 9-2 first place Denver Broncos.
All right, this is the DNVR Broncos Podcast presented by Bet365, or if you deposit some money, bet $5.
Deposit 10, bet 5.
Get $150 for free. That's a good deal.
It is a good deal.
There's all sorts of free money on that app.
I really like the present. So like I'm enjoying all this future stuff, but I have two things for the present. Okay. I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Just to ground me again.
No, it's good to ground. Today is our least grounded day, but we should ground.
We're just floating off into the future.
Yeah.
I like it right here. One, Cam Scadaboo has picked the Broncos to win the Super Bowl.
Right. So that's a guy whose opinion I don't really think I trust about anything.
Well,
but it is nice to hear. Similar to our PFF conversation yesterday.
Exactly. I'll trust anyone as long as they say what I want to hear.
Exactly.
Which, wow, that's not good.
But no, it isn't. It's common, though.
It's common. I think this is very interesting for one reason.
Okay.
I would think that if any team that the Broncos have beat this year would not believe in them, it would be the Giants. Because the Giants would be like, we were kicking their ass for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
You know, like if I was a Giants fan, I would definitely be like, the Broncos just got lucky off of like a couple good bounces went their way in the fourth quarter. So that's why I would just expect Cam Scadaboo to be like, yeah, not the Broncos. Like if we can beat them like that for 3 quarters, someone else can for sure.
So,
and they won't blow it.
I think that if you're saying like, what should like Giants world as a whole's perspective on this game be, that's the right one.
Yeah.
But if it's what does Cam Scadaboo think, then again, it might just be, bro, I can't believe they did that. These guys are like magic, man. That's impossible, you know? Yeah. Like, and I think that, again, he isn't necessarily the man whose opinion I'd follow.
All right, fair enough.
I'm more of an Oz the Mentalist guy.
Oh, okay.
Although I am, to be clear, I am not an Oz the Mentalist guy. It just happens to be that they had the
If you had to choose between Cam Scadaboo and Oz the Mentalist, you'd go with the Mentalist?
I hope I never have to, but in terms of people who recently said the Broncos will win a Super Bowl or be in the Super Bowl, there we go.
Yeah. I thought Oz the Mentalist got Devontae Adams to say that.
He did.
Well, I didn't see the clip.
I think that there's no way that he didn't just tell Matthew Stafford and Devontae Adams before.
So you think that every Oz the Mentalist video is an inside job?
No.
Oh.
This one, though.
This particular one.
I think this one. And I think
I've only ever seen the football ones.
Adds up. That's like 90% of what I've seen. Yep. But I think basically he was like, okay, throw the football to 2 random guys, to Matthew Stafford, and he threw it. And one was to number 24 and one was to number like 19 or something.
And then they were...
And those are the numbers Devontae had written.
Wow.
It's like, that's going to be the score.
So you think that was an inside job? I would never.
I agree.
I would never play along with such a deceiving act of disgust.
I couldn't lie to my teammates. Even if I thought that in the long run I was convincing them that this is like this is going to happen.
That is true. It is like a psychological boost for them to be like, oh, Oz the Mentalist. He knows everything.
Imagine being like the 21-year-old rookie sitting there seeing that. It's like, oh my God, we're going to win the Super Bowl. Yeah. That's yeah. Was there a second thing?
There was a second thing. Joe Burrow's back.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow is going to play, potentially, possibly.
Yep.
Probably.
How long till he's gone again?
Hold on.
Okay.
You're Back to the Future.
Sorry. Sorry.
He's playing this week against the Patriots.
Big.
Who were supposed to get a layup win this weekend.
They were.
And now they have to go up against Joe Burrow. They don't have to go up against Jamar Chase. Stop spitting on people. What?
Just don't spit on someone.
Never spit on anyone under any circumstances.
Right. I can't imagine being the guy who has to decide, like, punishment-wise, what to do about that.
Yeah.
Because, they decide one game. I could see them being like, bro, what the hell were you thinking? 5 games.
Sure.
Or just say, like, I don't know how to, like, it could be nothing. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
anyways,
just, like, give him a game, I guess.
Joe Burrow and T. Higgins versus the Patriots. You think they can pull it off?
No.
Okay.
There's now a chance. The game is now worth watching. And, I decided this week I'm going back to the 4-week seasons strategy of betting to kind of interpret where a team is. So Patriots, for example, beat the Jets, beat the Bucks, beat the Falcons, beat the Browns. Couple kind of competitive games in there, but got off to this really hot start. And then carried that into you beat the Titans and the Saints, which is good. You beat the Bills and you beat the Panthers. There's that segment too. Oh, sorry. This is backwards. So there we go. That makes way more sense because it doesn't make sense with my point at all. So point is they are now in this hot streak after like the first month. The first 4 was Raiders loss, the win over the Dolphins, the loss to the Steelers. So I think they kind of started slow, but now are a really good team. Whereas there are other teams who also have really good records who are good teams before and are now no longer good teams. And that's why I say like Patriots are just... They're often running. They're just a good team.
All right.
Bengals are broken.
I think that he's going to play. He's been full participant.
Oh yeah.
In the last 2 days of practice.
I think he's going to play.
What was his injury again?
It wasn't turf. Was it turf toe?
Yeah, it might have been turf toe.
It was something like that.
That right, because we were talking about how turf toe needs a rebrand.
Right, because it sounds
so simple.
Like a child's injury.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. We can go back to the future now.
Cool. Back to the future. Maybe we'll go back to the present later. So like I said, $67 million in cap space. That's a pretty good chunk of money. And for the Broncos, they shouldn't have too many expensive free agents. So JFM is the big one. And if you want to keep him, probably $15 million off the top. And again, it won't count for quite that much just because the way they structure their contracts, but it'll probably account for a significant chunk of that just because it's probably a short contract.
Yeah, I've gone from no way, it's not possible to I'll settle for nothing less.
Yep. And I think with JFM in particular, so they draft Savion Jones in the 3rd round to play basically that exact same role. Like, he was an edge rusher who they're bumping inside, which is the JFM. Like, yeah, you're 5 tech, but occasionally we're going to put you on the edge and like a nickel to help our run defense. So far, Savion hasn't hardly been on the field.
Yeah.
And so there's no way to say like, oh, look, the
He's
drop off. The drop off isn't $15 million worth.
Right.
So as of now, yeah, I'm kind of with you. From there, you go to Will Lutz. He's a little over $4 million now. You'd expect like a little raise.
Mm-hmm. He's not going anywhere.
No, he's not. He's certainly not. And even if he did, you're spending most of that money on another worse kicker anyway.
Yep.
Then you have guys like Luke Wattenberg, where if you want to keep him, you probably get to do it for under about $10 million. I don't think he would be as expensive as Lloyd Cushenberry was, but that's probably just based on the physical tool. Production-wise, I don't think there's a huge difference. The thing is, that sounds like a big chunk of money, but what do you do if you let him walk? Like we talked Tyler Linderbaum. Sure, go ahead. That's another 15 plus, 20 plus $1 million chunk.
Instead of the $10 million
Instead
chunk.
of like maybe a little less than 10, hopefully.
Yeah. And again, there is something to be said for keeping a group together.
Right. And then we have this last tier that I think is a lot tougher. So like Justin Sternad is at $3 million now. He's going to get more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a starting NFL linebacker. How much more is tough to say. It's probably not $10 million a year.
No.
It's probably more than $5 million a year though. He's playing really well.
He is.
He might be a bit of a luxury though. Although you also have Alex Singleton currently at $6 million. You could probably bring him back for less, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be 33 in the building. Obviously, you have Dre Greenlaw, Drew Sanders at some point soon. You would think should be healthy. Lavelle Bailey, some of those young guys we've kind of liked, but not really guys who were proven like Sternad and Singleton.
Yeah. If I were to guess, one of those two is back.
I would guess the same thing.
Both.
I would guess the same thing. Malcolm Roach, he's at 3.5 now. He's still probably sub 10, but probably not significantly sub 10.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, all of these little like 5, 6, 7s can kind of add up. PJ Locke.
6, 7.
Shoot. Yep. PJ Locke, another guy who you could probably keep for could certainly keep for under $5 million, and he'd be your depth. But would you be willing to put JL Skinner in there? JL Skinner, who awesome special teams. Also, we did watch, what was the game with the Hail Marys? The Eagles game at the end with the PI from JL and the could have been PI on the other. And it's like, that was
he had a rough
tough showing there.
Drive.
So I agree. Like, probably get to move on. Probably makes sense to move on from PJ. You'd love to have him back for special teams and stuff, but you're not getting in a bidding war.
Yeah, but so here's where
the draft.
It's hard for me to talk about the future when we are in the present.
Fair.
How the rest of this season goes will determine a lot of this.
Right. If PJ Locke subs in for a couple games.
Totally. Or if the Broncos win the Super Bowl, a lot of these guys are saying like,
true,
I've got my ring. I've got to go get my bag.
Right.
And as much as we'd love for it to be the other way, like, oh, let's go back to back. Like, I was talking to Benny about this with AJ Brown. I'm like, why is he doing this? Like, he's on a winning team, a great franchise. Well, and he's just like, he has a ring, dude. He just wants to catch passes and score touchdowns. He doesn't care about any of the other stuff anymore. And so you're going to see a lot of these guys just say like, oh, I'm on a Super Bowl winning team. Now I get like the Super Bowl winning bonus going to another team. I'm going to cash out, which none of us are going to be complaining. The other side is like, if you get close and don't, then there's guys being like, man, like we're so close. Like, I don't know if I want to not be a part of this. I'm willing to take a little bit of a discount to run it back and let's go chase this thing again. Yeah,
definitely. And again, there's also stuff like Savion Jones for some reason is on the field for the last 3 weeks of the season and gets a sack in each of them.
Yeah.
Then that kind of changes your perspective.
Yeah.
Malcolm Roach gets hot, then his price tag goes up. Maybe you said, there's all these different things. Luke Wattenberg misses a game for whatever reason. Alex Forsythe comes in and plays well. Then you have a different conversation.
Malcolm Roach has the dog factor for me that makes him less replaceable.
I agree. That's what I'll tack $2 million on to whatever he gets for that.
Yes, he brings an edge.
And that should be enough to win the bidding war.
This last weekend when he got his helmet knocked off and he's just like screaming. Oh my God, I love that.
I also love it. Real quick, just some money saving moves they could make. If you wanted to move on from Ben Powers after the season, you save about $9 million. And again, when we're talking through all those,
like exactly what you're talking
it's
about.
It's a Palcho conversation.
Like Savion Jones coming in and getting 3 sacks is equivalent to like Palcho coming in and really representing himself well.
Right.
By the way, I've had this thought for a while that I haven't had the space to say it. JFM has been like a much more of a Bronco to me this year.
Oh, I like that.
And it's made me want him back more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Last year he kind of felt like a hired gun.
Yep.
Who was just like here to show out and like say like pay me my money.
Yep.
And now I'm like, oh, I don't know. He's like repping Bo Nix and like saying all the right things and talking about the fans and all that stuff. And I'm like, he's one of us now. We have to keep him.
Totally. Real quick on some others. You save $4 million moving on from Evan Ingram, but you obviously save more than that the next year, which is kind of like an interesting little thought.
I'm just I'm really just hoping that Sean Payton has like this really sick Evan Ingram playbook that he just, for whatever reason, hasn't used yet.
I am so ready to change every opinion I have of that. And all it's going to take is like a hot 2-week stretch.
Like,
there's so much time and he's so talented. It's going to happen.
He's wearing number 1.
Yes. Yes.
He's just like floating around in space out there.
$7 million if you move on from Dre Greenlaw.
No.
Nope. What if this is another one where we can talk at the end of the year? A lot of things to come. And then after that, that's kind of the important list. I mean, save $7 million, moving on from Brandon Jones. You're obviously not doing that. Yeah. So you could find a little more cap space if you wanted to. Palcho's probably the one who could do that.
I think it'll tell us a lot what happens when Ben Powers is healthy.
Totally.
Does he slot right back in, or did he get Wally pipped?
Right. I don't think he's been Wally pipped, but I think we got a couple more games to see.
What week did Ben Powers get injured in? The Broncos might be 8-0 without Ben Powers.
Oh boy, I don't think that's the case. But we can check.
Early.
It was early. We're gonna wrap this up on the other side, but first though, want to give a shout out to our friends over at Taco Bell. Taco Bell is the best. There's the new Cantina chicken menu. It is high quality chicken. We were talking about Von Miller and his chickens a second ago, 20 minutes ago. He gets good chicken. Taco Bell gets good chicken because it isn't just really like cheap chicken. It's good chicken that they slow roast and season with Mexican spices like garlic and onions and a variety of chilies. Additional premium ingredients highlighted on the menu that include shredded purple cabbage, white corn tortilla shells. They're freshly fried. Pico de gallo that's freshly prepared daily. And of course, they still have all the classics. So whether you're looking at the new Cantina chicken menu, whether you're looking at the Buffs box, which I recommend for $7, you get 4 Taco Bell classics and a large drink in a CU Buff Player collectible cup. It's an absolute steal. Taco Bell's the place to go. Doritos Locos Tacos. Those sound really good.
Those slap.
Those are really good.
Are you?
No.
Sorry, how to do this.
Yep. Taco Bell, though. We love Taco Bell. Thank you, Taco Bell.
And Toyota, do you remember what it felt like to go to the toy store as a kid?
Mm-hmm.
Just one of the greatest feelings. Like, I'm leaving here with something new that's going to be exciting. Well, Toyota, it's right in the name. And it's the adult toy store.
It is.
You go to a front range Toyota store, that's the adult toy store. And you're going to leave with that same giddy feeling that you had when you were a kid and you got like a new action figure or Stomp Rockets. Do you remember Stomp Rockets?
Yeah, do I remember Stomp Rockets?
Stomp Rockets went crazy. Anyways, Toyota, better than Stomp Rockets. As crazy as that might sound.
Really?
A new Toyota hits even harder than that, and they've got all sorts of sick new models. I love my Toyota, and I cannot wait until I get my next one. And you know that I'll be going to a front range Toyota store, such as AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota Eastern Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is an official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR and me. Let's go places.
Back in the DNVR Broncos podcast. Reminder, if you go over to Bet365, deposit $10, place $5 bet, you get $150 in bonus bets if you use the code
200
DNVR365. We are in the Toyota Lounge. You are in the Toyota chat. Likes, thumbs up, 5 stars, all that stuff.
Stomp Rockets, bro.
Stomp Rockets. Right. Some comments in here. Never mind.
Yeah. You and your friend would be stomping on the Stomp Rocket and it would go like 10 feet. And then like your friend's dad would come out, launch that shit like 100 feet in the air.
Dads were good at that. one of their strengths. So putting all this together, Broncos are in a Bruce. I love Bruce Brown.
Bruce is just in his post-game interview looking like he's ready to go play 18. He's got the Cherry Hills Country Club hat on and the cherries on his shirt.
This was a 6 o'clock start here, which means it's 8 o'clock in New Orleans.
Yep.
Which means that this is now...
I think he played golf before the game.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So it's not 11:30 at night that he's dressed like a little golfer.
Well, he was.
He was good.
I don't think he had time to change after he went golfing in New Orleans.
Interesting. That's a good life. Should have joined the NBA. So all that put together, though, Broncos probably, if they wanted to, or almost certainly if they wanted to, could just run the entire team back next year.
Yeah.
Again, barring like Super Bowl run where yeah, you got to tack another 20% onto everybody. But even in that case, you probably wouldn't be too far off. They also have they have a chance to go and add a couple of big pieces if they wanted to. They have all of their draft picks. They also have a bonus 4th round pick from the Devon Vele trade. I think they're missing maybe a 7th round pick the next year, but also have maybe like a 5th. Point is, you have all your picks. You're in decent situation cap-wise. There's some long-term stuff that maybe you have to keep an eye on, but continuing to structure things the way structure things should be set up. And that's why this really is just a 5-year window, and they have the freedom to be creative in how they want to change the team this offseason.
Totally. And I really lean towards as little change as possible.
Yeah.
There's a couple places like running back and wide receiver where I would say, like, if you're going to make a big move and say, like, we're adding a bunch of firepower somewhere, that's the place where you do it. And I think that's the perfect situation to be in as a football team in the offseason is like, let's bring back our guys. Let's bring back our depth. And let's make sure we have a little bit of a pot on the side if we want to make a big splash, or if we have an opportunity to make a trade or something like that for a guy who has a larger cap hit. I think that continuity is so underrated in sports, and especially in football where the roster is so big, where it's like you could easily turn over 20 players in a year and it feels like nothing.
Right.
But the teams that don't do that, and the teams that just kind of like pick and choose their spots and keep the guys around who contribute and do their jobs, I feel like get exponentially better over time.
Totally. And I think we saw it last year when they said we can bring back our entire defense minus Cody Barton and also add Ufunga, add Dre Greenlaw, a 1st round pick, and then, you know, a couple depth guys, Q Robinson, Savion, and all of a sudden you see it works kind of how you'd expect in hindsight, which is that
same players just got better.
Right. You just kind of got better. The young guys got a little bit better for the most part. You had Ufunga, and all of a sudden you're just a smidge better. It's not a bad strategy.
I think
more than a smidge. This
defense feels dominant. Last year's defense felt really good.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree. But then offensively, maybe this is the year where you get to go back and invest. And I don't think that you need to do a lot of things. I think that you kind of keep the same concept, but then just try to add to the top in the same way that, you know, Ufunga might be he's not your best defensive player, but he's not far off.
Yeah, Pat would be that.
It has to be Pat. It is still Pat.
Nick Bonito.
It's probably
and then
Nick
Jonathan
Bonito.
Cooper.
I wonder what is Nick Bonito's sack pace? Because
it's tapered a little bit.
It's tapered a little bit. And so you go 9.5 in 11 games. So 17 times that. He's on pace for 14.6. So probably 14.5. I think in terms of safeties, Ufunga's better than like the equivalent of 14.5.
How many players are going to get 14.5 sacks this year? 5?
Yeah. I think he's one of the 5 best.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great conversation.
It is.
Great problem to have.
Good.
So then he probably is better than, he's definitely better than Jonathan Cooper. He's the third best player.
Value-wise is different, obviously, because like positions and the way those markets work. But like in terms of just best football player, Madden rating style, might be Ufunga. But the point is, I kind of like the idea of doing the same thing on the offense. Now you just have 2 months to figure out, you know, is that another receiver? Is that a running back? Is that a tight end? Is that something on the offensive line?
Yeah. I don't know if this was done by design because there were like rumors of the Broncos being in on Stephon Diggs and things like that.
Schefter, who is, of all the rumors, that's the rumor you kind of trust.
Yeah. I think the Broncos are very fortunate the way that the offense is structured right now, while Bo had to kind of like overcome these struggles.
Right.
Because Cortland is a great team guy who also is just happy to be winning because he's been losing his whole career.
Totally.
And so now he's like, wow, like he has a lot more patience for offensive struggles than a diva receiver who's done it everywhere at a high level.
Yep.
Played with Josh Allen, you know, and like gone to AFC championships. And then the rest of the receiving group is just like young guys who are just chomping at the bit for their opportunities.
Yep. Will one of them pop?
You don't have a single guy on this team who's like, I can't believe I'm not getting the ball more.
Right.
And it's really nice right now to have that. I think that to get over the top from an offensive standpoint, and maybe they just win the Super Bowl this year and none of it matters. But to get over the top from an offensive standpoint, you eventually do have to get one of those guys who has that mindset for a reason, because he knows that every time you give him the ball, good things happen.
Yep. I like it. Cortland, though, 30, 2029, 34. And the Broncos have a couple of those guys where, that's the other thing with the window is you figure out, would you rather invest in guys who are going to be here for the whole window? How does that work? Because 34-year-old Cortland Sutton, who knows what he is? 37-year-old Garrett Bowles, who knows what he is?
Yeah.
33-year-old Garrett Bowles is awesome, it turns out. 35, 30, at some point, it's going to happen. But
left tackles weirdly age well.
They have recently. Like, there are just a few really notable examples that make you think it's certainly possible.
Andrew Whitworth played, like, really long.
Yes. Trent Williams
has got to be up there now.
Joe Thomas was a long time.
Lane Johnson, right tackle. But, yeah, for some reason,
there's a
seems
trend.
like that would be a really tough position to age into. But
you'd think
those guys that are doing it, they've got, I don't know, got something to them.
You also have Mike McGlinchey, who would be 34. You'd have...
Fine.
Okay. You'd have Luke Wattenberg, 32. That's no issue. So, yeah, I mean, that offensive line-wise, it's probably just Garrett. DJ Jones would be 34. JFM would be 33. Those are still, like, kind of on that borderline. Evan Ingram, 35.
But you're thinking about the end of the window.
Well, I'm just saying, sometimes it's good to look at, like, Zach Allen will still be 32. Like, he's still going to be one of your good players. So
I just plan on winning a Super Bowl before 2029.
Multiple, hopefully.
Yes. So then, but the way you're saying it makes it feel like, oh, these guys are going to have to be a part of winning a Super Bowl in 2029. Okay. When to me, it's like 2029 is like, here's the last year of the window. Like,
okay.
So a lot of them, maybe Garrett Bowles retired after back-to-back Super Bowls.
There's
pulled a John Elway.
There's a chance. My thought is just, Evan Ingram at 35, athletic guy, probably not going to be your tight end in that season. And this isn't a place where the what must be done eventually should be done immediately.
Yes. Shout out Mace.
Who
was quoting some Florida athletic director.
Right, of course.
Jeremy.
Closer than I could get. Because obviously in the NFL, everybody's going to retire. And so if you worked with the mindset where you have to replace them all anyway, that wouldn't really work.
Yeah,
but
that would be bad.
Like at some point in the next few years, you are going to be changing
eventually
one of your defensive linemen. You're going to be right. Might as well. Like, you are going to probably be changing your wide receiver one. You are going to do, and so like when you know that is something in this very important time in the Broncos history, I think that it can like change your thinking just a little bit and say like, hey, if Court isn't going to be our wide receiver one for this entire window, then what does that make us more tempted to make a move? Who knows?
Yeah.
They give him the big contract, though, so he at least will be here for a couple more years.
He's also aging well.
He is aging really well. And at this point, only 30.
Yeah.
2029, though, he'll be older. Oh, I'll be 32.
I was just thinking about that. I was like, I'll be 37.
I'd be washed. Before we get out of here, Bills play the Texans tonight.
Oh, that's fun.
It is. Well, sort of. Because also it's just going to be like...
Are you going to Benny's thing tonight?
I don't... thing. We'll talk
I'll
after. Good. The number one defense by points, number one defense by yards. Like, as much as we love what the Broncos are doing, in most categories, the Texans are like a step ahead, which is kind of interesting. Point being, this is...
the belt, though.
Right. This feels like it could just be like a very classic Thursday night football ugly game. Maybe the Texans can upset the Bills. I'm just thinking losses for AFC good teams.
Davis Mills, though.
Right. Who can feed Nico Collins and do nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's actually been on the Bo Nix plan recently. Just only playing in the fourth quarter. Well,
right.
Not only playing, but only producing in the fourth quarter.
Right. I don't know. I'm holding out some hope the Texans can do it for us.
I would like that. Josh Allen has been known to like melt down against a great defense where like
totally
all of a sudden he just starts doing crazy shit out of character.
Yes.
Which he did this last week, but they got away with it.
Right. And they don't.
The Bucs defense couldn't stop anything.
I believe they don't have Kincaid, who is like the safety blanket, consistent guy. I thought they were down at least one of their receivers too. Like I don't know. I think the run game for them has trended poorly recently, and still one of the best, but trended poorly.
I'll probably be betting on the Bills.
I probably should, but it's a
I'll be happy to be
greasy
wrong.
game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans have a shot at the end and Davis Mills fails. Super chats, Calvin, $5. Would you prefer to be 11-0 with everything going smoothly, or 9-2 with the confidence and resilience the team has built through those tough losses? Also, we're going to overtime.
It's always easier to say this in hindsight. Like if you asked me before the season, would you rather be 11-0
Give me the
in
11-0,
week 12
yep.
or 9-2 with really tough, ugly wins? I would be taking the 11-0. Where we are now, though, this team has just been fortified over and over and over and over again, and now they're like super iron. And so I love where this team is currently, and I wouldn't trade it.
Yep. I'm happy where they are. 11-0 would be pretty cool, though. Imagine what we'd be saying at 11-0. There would be a weird pressure that comes along with that. Benny is right.
And Akib and TJ said the same thing.
Yeah, where it's like if you're 11-0, everybody's like, "Oh, the Broncos." Like
No, we're talking about 17-0.
we are.
Like those are the conversations. It's
Right.
like, wow, like
Where's the mousetrap?
Right, like
Mousetrap,
the game against the Commanders, like they have cameras on the whatever it was, Dolphins 78.
70-20.
No. The Dolphins.
Oh, 70
went
years.
undefeated.
78. Yes. 77.
I don't know. I felt like it was gonna come to me really easily.
It must be 70.
Anyways,
A
they'd
long
be like
time
put
ago.
cameras on them. They're like, oh, like they're rooting against the Broncos, blah blah blah. But
Yep.
9-2 with a 8-game winning streak is pretty sweet.
It absolutely is.
And you have a 2-game lead on the division.
I want to see what year
that's
this.
really.
Undefeated Dolphins, 72. Oh, we were way
That feels
off.
right now.
Yeah, it does feel right because it is. Justin Willems, Hank, all I'm going to say is go Bobcats. Yeah, good luck with that. It's really hard not to just disparage a whole group of people.
Right.
Every day you just want to do it. Here's the thing. You know who I think is most representative of all of the Bobcats?
Who?
Well, guessing game. He did the stupidest thing that anybody in sports has done in the past 12 months.
Oh, God.
What was the stupidest thing that anybody in sports has done? And I'll say it's from like a management type decision. Not Rockies related. There's a hint.
Someone gave someone way too much money. That sucks.
Universally just hated decision. A decision that just melts your brain. Decision that got a lot of views for one of our friends.
Nico
Harrison.
Harrison.
Yep, he traded. That's what a Bobcat does. Trades Luka Doncic.
He went to Montana State.
Yeah. He was pretty good basketball-wise. Turns out he's just another one of those Bobcats, though. Okay. AJ2332, Dobbins next year. Love production, injury tough. You
hate this
can't bet on it.
conversation.
I hate it too
this
because
conversation.
there is nothing I want more than healthy J.K. Dobbins every single game because, first of all, off the field, nothing you could ever complain about. In fact, a lot of it is very inspirational. It's not even just like a lot of times we talk about people, it's like, oh, he's such a good guy. But in reality, it's like, no, it's just kind of like a normal dude. Like normal dudes generally are just like pretty decent guys. He is actually like an exceptional person who grew up in a really tough way and gave back to like a community, like so many great things. And as a football player, also is awesome, is one of the best running backs in the NFL when he's healthy. But also, you went into this season saying one of the things that needs to go right is J.K. Dobbins' health. And that's when you do that in the offseason season, say, hey, if we go to the Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl, we need to hit the jackpot. Everything needs to line up perfectly. That's one of the things. Sure. Right now, it really stinks, and I don't think you can do it again.
It's crazy because even if JK was healthy through this whole year, it would have been a hard conversation in the offseason. Like, okay, like
now can you do it?
Kind of got lucky. Are you willing to roll that
it's true.
dice again? You didn't get lucky, unfortunately. And here's the real tough part, and I think it's the hardest part to grasp from our chairs. If J.K. Dobbins is on your team, he's going to be your best running back.
Absolutely.
And so then you're going to inherently lean on J.K. Dobbins.
Right.
And then history would tell us at some point you're going to be leaning on J.K. Dobbins, and that chair is going to be pulled away from you. And it's just a weird position to be in. I remember the same thing happening like with the Nuggets in the net. It was just like, okay, you like built your offense around this guy, and he's gone again. And now what do you have? So I don't know. I would love to just say like, yeah, bring JK back and have him be RB2.
Mm-hmm.
It's
not what he does though.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's not an RB2 type. And that means your RB1 has to be a joker because you need that. That's an important piece of the Sean Payton offense, which means you're kind of eating into RJ's role. And then all of a sudden, though, you're just like, well, move RJ into that role. And you're like, well, then now you're just right back where you started. Maybe with more depth. Maybe if you did have one more guy, you go and sign like a Pacheco or somebody, Tyler Algier. But those guys, who knows if you can get them to agree to come be your number 3 running back in case JK gets hurt.
It sucks.
It sucks.
That's all I have to say is it sucks.
Yep.
The logistics don't add up great.
Right. Notable free agents: Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Rashad White, Rico Dowdle, Javonte Williams, Travis Etienne played well earlier. I just don't think you can do it. It's just, you can't make that bet again. One more super chat. A couple more. Pigsby and Kenyon Sadiq. That's what we need. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. That was Pierre Lapine, by the way. Neutrino Waves.
You probably saved that $4 million on Evan Ingram.
Probably. Because you save even more the year after. That initial 1 year savings. You don't need 2 tight end jokers. Neutrino Waves, $1. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Those are my favorite waves. We'll be back tomorrow. We did big picture today, very small picture tomorrow, playoff picture tomorrow.
Ooh,
figure out who we're rooting for in all the games.
I love that. I can't wait. I can't wait for this weekend to just watch every football game.
It is going to be nice.
I'm even getting up early and going to the local pub to watch some soccer.
Wow.
Yeah, just sports.
That's a lot of sports.
All day.
Yep, I'll just be sitting in Bar Missoula watching all the football. Hopefully making some money at Bet365. That's going to do it for today. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.